Hey, how y'all doing? Alright. I'm doing alright. Skating away on the thin ice of a new day, in the words of Mr. Anderson. You know, I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube and DramaTube and TubeTubes or whatever kind of tube. And one thing I always wondered about, a lot of people seem to wear sunglasses while they're making videos indoors. And I wondered why. So I thought I'd give it a shot and see what the benefit is of that. I couldn't find any sunglasses, so I'm wearing my goggles that I wear when I ride my motorcycle. About the same thing. Okay. I'm not feeling any smarter, unfortunately. I might be prettier. But then just about anything could do that. I'm not going to wear them anymore. I don't like it. So I'm not going to wear it. Alright, there we go. Pretty now, huh? Yeah. Another thing I want to talk about is all the things I see talked about on the internet, on the videos. There seems to be certain themes that run through the videos that I watch. And it may just be my predilection for certain videos, but there's certainly some themes going, I think you'll agree. Like, well, certainly, global depression, the whole economy thing, police state type stuff, FEMA camps, contrails, all that kind of stuff like that. My personal favorite is alien reptilian shapeshifters taking over the world. Alien reptilian shapeshifters. Yeah. I like that because I like to think about the people who are worried about that. Because if your main concern in life is alien reptilian shapeshifters taking over the planet, then brother, you ain't got shit to worry about. You're doing good. I remember back in the 70s or 80s, they had a TV show called V. And it was about alien reptilian shapeshifters taking over the planet. And every once in a while they'd have a scene in there where they'd have a particularly hot shapeshifter there eating. And she'd be like choking down a big old rat or a guinea pig, stuffing it down her throat. And I found those scenes particularly dramatic and powerful. I won't say exactly. Well, I'll talk more about that later, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, there's something that I'm missing. I think there's a theme that should be running through a lot of this stuff that isn't. And 2 words: exponential growth, not arithmetical growth. Exponential growth. I'll give you an example if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about. There's an old legend, a myth about it, where there was a Chinese emperor, and he gets presented one day with this new game. This new game is called chess. It has 64 squares on it. Well, the emperor plays the game a bit, gets hip to it, and he's like, man, this is the greatest game in the world. I mean, I loves me some chess. Well, I mean, he said it in a Chinese way, but that's what he meant. He said, sir, Mr. Inventor, what can I pay you for this game? I mean, what reward do you require for coming up with this greatest game in the world? Well, the inventor, not being stupid and being a mathematician, said, well, Emperor, I don't know, how about this? 1 grain of rice on square 1, and then 2 grains of rice on square 2, and then 4 grains of rice on square 3, and then 8 grains of rice on square 4. And you see where we're going with it, Emperor. 64 squares. Well, the Emperor, he's looking around at his courtiers there that he's got, his eunuchs and whatnot, I mean, and he's saying, is this guy stupid or what? Yes, sir, we'll pay you your price. Well, then, the Emperor's mathematicians start to work on the problem. How much do we have to pay off? Is this a bag of rice, 2 bags of rice, a cartload of rice, what? A boatload of rice? No. They come up with the answer. On square 64, the payoff will be, take the planet Earth, surface area, sands, oceans, another planet Earth, similarly devoid of oceans, and that's the surface area required to grow enough rice to pay that smart-ass son of a bitch off on Square 64. That's exponential growth. Doesn't seem like much for a long time, and then it's going to bite you in the ass. Well, the emperor, being the emperor, he had a better solution than creating another planet. He just had his head chopped off, which, was quick, to the point, and solved the problem. But we can't do that. Our problem with exponential growth is people. Our population is growing exponentially. We have a little over 6 billion people on the planet right now. Now, if you're 24 years old, thereabouts, say in 30 years, say when you're my age, the population of the planet is projected to be 9 billion people. A 50% increase over what we have today. So if you think there's problems now with famine, disease, warfare, just wait. It's only going to get worse. As resources dry up because of the increased population, do you think that these populations will become kinder, gentler people with themselves and with one another? I'm thinking no. I'm thinking it's going to get much, much worse. So why aren't people talking about this? Why don't I see this in video after video after video? Well, I think it's because people have a mental block against it. People think it's their God-given right to have babies. There's no such thing as a God-given right, all right? All we're doing by producing more and more and more people is condemning those people to a life of horror, don't you see? I don't mean to be a downer, and I don't mean to be cold, and I don't mean to be mean. And I'm not talking about murder. I'm not talking about genocide. I'm talking about avoiding those things by having a plan now. But do you think that's going to happen? Do you think there's any politician in the world that has the balls to step up and say, quit having babies? Sure, the Chinese tried it for a while, and everybody condemned them for it. And their plan, admittedly, was imperfect. But some kind of plan has to be brought up, don't you think? I mean, because after all, there's only a finite amount of resources on this planet. We cannot create out of nothing, except one thing. Yeah, babies. But babies don't stay babies. They grow up. And when they grow up and they don't have what they need, then they can get mean. And we already see that happening. You see what happens in Africa and third world countries around the world. It's not a genetic problem with them. They're not born murderous. They don't just say, oh, I think I'll get a machete and hack up this whole village on a whim. They're driven to it. Unless you want to see the whole planet driven to that, I think we need to get a little plan, don't you? Man, that's some depressing shit. You know what? I'm going to put on my motorcycle goggles here and see if I can't feel better about the whole situation. Got to be something. Let's try it out. Here we go. You know, I do feel better. I do feel better. I'm going to see if I can find me some V on Hulu.